Okay, and we are, well, technically we're live. We're coming to you from the past. All right, everyone, welcome to Masculine Geek special guests. I believe we are number 109. I don't even remember anymore, but we're 109. This is both Juliette and David from the Unwritable Rant and Bourbon Soaked Live podcast and StreamYard and YouTube channel. Yes, welcome.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure to have you both.
Well, it is fantastic to be here. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Now let's dive right in because I like the creative spark that is behind all the endeavor that you see publicly is what I'm interested in, and I'll give you a quick example. I'm a huge Hemingway, Tesla, all different kind of classical artists and writers. I like to look at their work. I like to read their work. I also like to know about how they do what they do. So I know more about these people than I do about their work. Like I haven't read all of Hemingway's work. I have a few that I'm very familiar with, but I could tell you, I could go on for hours about how he lived his life. That fascinates me. That whole creative spark. So I want to know about both of you, that creative spark that is behind the podcasts, the writing, and the video casts. So let's get started about where you're at. We were having an interesting discussion about where you're located. You're down in, where are you?
Yeah, we're in New Orleans. And I think for me, that plays a big part in where a lot of my creativity comes from these days, is being in the heart of the French Quarter every day. And that just plays into everything that I love. You know, whether it's drinking bourbon or meeting new people or hearing live music. I mean, it's all just right here. And I really find lately, and we've been here for about a year now, I think.
Yeah, sure.
I think my writing has just improved tremendously from this kind of experience.
Yeah, and I produce better just being drunk. So let's start there.
Cheers to that. Cheers to that.
No. You write drunk, you edit sober.
Oh, that's true.
How it
Well, no. Well, I've actually augmented that. You write buzzed, or you write buzzed, but you edit sober. You have that low level, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, excellent. Now, how did the two of you get together? Did the podcast exist before you met? And then what's the whole sordid story behind that?
No, she answered the Craigslist ad.
Stop. No,
that's not true.
David and I are married. We've been married for
13 years.
13
well, we've been together 13. We've been married 11.
Yes.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yes. And
cool.
The podcast has been around for 6 years. And one day I was just tired of being a writer without any readers. I published a book, it did fairly well, and then people just stopped reading books. So I wanted something that was going to get a little bit more attention than that. And Bill Burr, a comedian, is just an absolute favorite of mine. And I started listening to his podcast, and I went to David. I said, "Can you make this happen for me?" And he said, "Yeah."
Well, I'm an old musician, so I know, audio mixing, how to do that. And I figured, if it's just vocals, I mean, I've done that.
Yeah, just,
that can't be that difficult. And, we put it together, started doing it, and voila, 6 years later, we're here. And it's just been such an awesome ride. I mean, most people with podcasting, people say, what's it like to be a podcaster? And the first year you say lonely. It's so true. You're building your audience.
It's so much work.
So much
work.
So much marketing, so much. I mean, because you are just not a podcaster, obviously. Mm-hmm. You have to be a podcaster, a marketer. You have to be in sales. You have to, know how to edit, produce, and do, it's all of the above. And it can be a full-time job if you let it. But what I tell people, and I talk to a lot of new podcasters, and they're like, what's one thing that I need to do my first year? I said, don't look at your stats. Just don't. I mean, if you're really into it, this is what you really want to do, it's your passion, worry about the content, worry about your voice, worry about, creating what matters and what you think the show should be. Don't worry about the numbers will come.
Yeah. And so you basically an organic take.
you kind of have to do it that way. Unless, of course, we got a little lucky up front because we started, well, I shouldn't say lucky.
I wouldn't say that.
But we had some really cool people on the show early on that kind of helped bump up our numbers.
Well, the early show format included celebrity interviews. So
Right.
as a result of that, then we picked up a whole bigger, wider audience.
Right.
But now
Gotcha.
we focus primarily on just my storytelling.
Yeah, now we do on the YouTube channel, we'll do the interviews.
Yeah.
And, because it's, I think people want to see an interview more than just hear an
Exactly.
interview.
Yeah.
Correct.
And secondly, her stories were kind of the forefront and the reason why we started it anyway. So
Yeah.
that's the way it ended. Yeah. But
Okay.
we had our first guest. No, our second guest. We talked to her before we started this.
yeah.
You talked about Hemingway.
Yes.
We had Hemingway's best friend on, A.E. Hotchner.
Yeah.
Oh, you did. Oh,
Yeah.
fuck! I'm so envious.
It was
Oh.
amazing.
You have no
And
idea
the guy
how cool that
was 98, I believe, when I
At
was
the
talking
time.
to him, and
He just passed away.
he did.
He did.
had,
Yeah, I know. Oh, son of a
He
bitch.
just published Hemingway in Love.
I know. I had.
and-
that's a great book.
Oh, it's incredible, and just
Yeah.
his personal recollections. I was just sitting there talking to the guy, and he's telling me things like, "Well, here's why Hemingway and Fitzgerald really didn't get along," from someone who knew. I mean,
Someone that was there.
It was
Yeah. Well, all right. Well,
insane.
why? I'm curious now. Why didn't they?
Because he couldn't trust Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
Ah,
He didn't
okay.
feel he could trust him.
Oh shit.
And he was telling stories about Mata Hari.
Mhm.
and,
Yes, which weren't true.
uh,
No.
Well,
no, and he said that.
he's got a great rationale on this. He's like, it wasn't my job to question the truth in his stories. It was just to accept them as his stories.
Yeah, as his truth as he was telling them. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And
God, that was such a fun
That was
interview.
amazing.
Oh, do you still have? Is that?
Oh,
can
yeah.
I listen to that?
Oh yeah, we actually re-released it. I think about a year ago.
When he passed.
David re-edited
Yeah.
it and kind
Oh.
of cleaned it up a little bit. So yeah, you don't have to dig too far to find it.
Okay, I know what I'm doing this weekend. Nice.
Absolutely. He says this weekend it's going to be the second we get off of here.
Do you know
And I
that
can't
A.E.
blame you.
Hotchner also started Paul Newman's own
The salad dressing.
the salad
Yeah.
dressing company with Paul
Yep.
Newman?
Yeah,
That's crazy.
That's so wild, isn't it great?
Oh,
Oh,
that guy's had an amazing life.
Amazing life.
Yeah.
Now, how did that come about?
Well, when he put out the book, Hemingway in Love, I reached out to his the publicist and also his assistant at the same time and tried to coordinate it. And he ended up doing 2 interviews that year for that book because, well, he's up in age. And believe me, that interview took a lot of editing because it was really kind of hard to get the stories out of him, kind of.
Well, he's just a 98-year-old man.
98-year-old
so
guy.
it's like,
Yeah.
Yeah. But he only did 2.
and
It
he
was
did
us and
the
New York Public Library. Yeah.
Wow.
That was it. Matter of
That's-
fact, I think from a recorded perspective, we were the last interview before he passed away.
That could
Oh
be.
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Well, it's
I have
sad.
chills. It's
Yeah.
sad, but it's great. I have chills. It's oh my god, it's fantastic. I'm definitely going to. James is correct. When we're done here, I'm gonna go ahead. It's
I'll
so
send you a
cool.
link in the Twitter DM.
Please do. That'd be
Yeah.
great. Oh, that's awesome. I'm gonna definitely save that one.
Yeah,
Okay,
but
so-
you know what was better than that? Leif Garrett.
What?
No,
Who?
I'm kidding.
I know,
We
yeah.
had Leif Garrett on, but no, he's not.
Yeah.
Even
He's not, he
close.
wasn't as good. No.
No.
Well, the A Hotchner interview. How long was that?
It's about an hour.
Yeah, I think I had about an hour with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Whoa, what a privilege.
Oh, early
It
on, she
certainly
had a
was,
bunch of
yeah.
people like Bert Kreischer. I don't know if you're into comedy or not.
A little bit, but that name is not familiar to me.
Yeah, Bert Kreischer, he's an LA comic. Who else have you had on? You had a whole bunch of people.
A bunch of comedians, actors, just people that I find interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty much what we do here at Masculine Geek, although not as illustrious as Mr. A. Hotchner and the rest. But still, that's very cool. I love it.
Well, if you're interested, on my YouTube channel, I have a video that actually shows you how to get celebrities on either your podcast or your YouTube channel.
I will check that out too. That's all. This is great. This is fun, informative, and educational.
A week out, we got Ari Shafir on, I guess. If we
I had Ari on.
We had Ari on too. Yeah.
You did have Ari. I was thinking of mentioning him. I love him.
He gave me a very extended lesson in how to take mushrooms.
Yeah, he taught us how to do mushrooms. Yeah.
Oh, is it like a clipboard step-by-step thing that you go through?
Kind of, yeah. He had some very specific instructions on what to do, and then if things started getting too intense, he had some other advice for me.
How to back off it.
Yeah.
Shit.
Slow down.
I need to revisit that. I haven't listened to that in a long time, but I remember it just being a blast.
Ari was a blast.
Yeah.
And that guy is so funny because he doesn't, when we did the interview, it was all over his cell phone, but his cell phone, he's like so old school. He only does flip phone. He doesn't have like a smartphone. He's like, I don't want to, I don't want technology. I don't want to.
You had a heck of a time editing that.
Oh my God, editing that was a pain.
Yeah, that was a nuisance.
But
I'm surprised he didn't come down for it. It sounds like he's, because I hear your state is quite open nowadays. So it's like I'm surprised he didn't fly on down for that one.
Yeah, New Orleans is pretty open right now. Not as open as some states right now. Texas and Mississippi.
Yeah, we're flanked by two states that are 100% open, no masks.
Wow,
Yeah.
I like it.
That just happened today. Yeah.
All right. And the rest of the country needs to follow suit. I mean, that's just the way it goes. I mean,
We're going to Mississippi in
a couple
2
of weeks.
weeks.
We're taking a casino trip to Mississippi.
on the
Just to see
river.
what it's like, just to not
I know, just to walk around,
not have a mask.
not breathe into a.
Yeah, right. Seriously, we were talking briefly before the show that I haven't been to New Orleans since 2001. In fact, I was down in Picayune, Mississippi.
Oh, where's that?
It sounds just like it. It sounds as horrible as it's almost as horrible as it sounds. Picayune, Mississippi. I don't remember, but it was just so backwater and so Hollywood, kind of like banjo, kind of like right. I'm gonna die out here. I'm just gonna
Deliverance.
Die. Yeah, completely. There are guys down there that are their own fathers. It's insane. It's.
Well, thankfully, Biloxi is right on the Gulf Coast, so it's really pretty. It's a nice part of the state. We haven't seen any other part of Mississippi except for driving.
A lot of traveling to do down south.
Yeah. We've only been down there for a year. We're originally from Chicago, so that's a big culture shift for us to come down there.
A big culture shock. Oh
goodness. Seriously, that's you're a complete Yank. Yeah, Connecticut Yankees in King Arthur's court, so to speak.
You know what though? Oddly enough, here in New Orleans, people have really embraced us. It's been really cool.
Really nice experiences. I think actually moving here during the start of the pandemic was beneficial to us in that it enabled us to get to know our neighbors without the whole, tourists and everything. Right.
Gotcha. Okay. So your transplants from Chicago down New Orleans. What was the impetus behind that?
The timing was right. I mean, we started traveling to New Orleans for vacations really early on in our relationship, and it was just something that we loved and always. I mean, we'd started going 2 or 3 times a year, and the more we went, the more I'd say, you know what, we just need to stay. And our trips kept getting longer and longer, and then finally, we were in a position with. David's job and just with life in general. And we just decided to pull the trigger and do it for good. And it's been incredible.
Best decision ever.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Nice.
Other than marrying her,
Well,
that was the second.
yeah,
I had to say that legally.
you got funny.
Yeah, you had to say that publicly. Yes. No, I follow you on Instagram, and I see. I'm very very. I have to take another trip down, and maybe we'll have to hang out. Definitely.
Yeah, for
If you
sure.
come down, we have a guest room that actually has its own private balcony, private bathroom. You feel like you have your own place. You wouldn't be
It's got its
intruding.
own bottle of chloroform.
Yeah, own bottle of chloroform.
Perfect. Yeah, I'm set.
You think she's kidding? We
I'm
actually
not kidding.
have a bottle of chloroform right above the
We
guest
bought an
bed
antique bottle
just to
of chloroform.
fuck with guests.
I love it. That's fantastic. That's right up my alley. I love it. Cool. All right, so you've been in New Orleans for a year, and we talked about that. It's very, the culture, the music, the architecture, the tits. It's everywhere. It's fantastic.
Well, the
You can't
kids
go
haven't
wrong.
come back yet. We're still waiting for the tourists to come.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yes, but-
they're not
Yeah.
allowed out right now.
Yeah.
So,
Right
so
now,
the,
we're just,
so the twins, they're not. The ladies aren't taking the twins for a walk yet. Okay, gotcha.
not yet.
Not yet.
Gotcha. Okay. Now you mentioned, and I did research this briefly, and I do want to pick it up. Your novel, your book. Can you explain and talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's called Morning Neurosis. I published it about 9 years ago, and it's the story of my time in Los Angeles and then moving back to Chicago, and kind of how I learned to overcome the trials and tribulations of working in the music industry and dating rock stars.
Oh shit.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's rock and roll and reality.
Well, that brings me to another point. I mentioned that I had one of your podcasts, your stories, back this past November of 2020. You were talking about that. Someone you had dated in the past, who was in a band, as you said, it was singing a cappella, but he had a strange issue with sex.
It's so funny. So this particular character, he wanted to remain a virgin until marriage. There's so many wacky oddities that I've encountered in some of these musicians. Him in particular, he needed to have his mother's approval and all the girls that he dated. And then this other musician that I dated, he was a multi-platinum recording artist, and he still lived with his mother.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it was creepy. Like, I'd go and visit him at her place, and it's just a very awkward situation. You'll be down in whatever his little basement bedroom is, making out or whatever. You come up for air, and then mom's there holding a tray of cookies and milk.
Mom, I want meatloaf.
Meatloaf.
That's it, exactly.
Yeah.
It's so awkward.
That's a little creepy.
It's very creepy.
That is rough. Yes. Oh shit. Okay. So, and that's. Do you have any plans as for a continuation or sequel to that, or what's your writing?
Well, I've had enough experiences with enough musicians and enough people, I think, to have stories to last me for a lifetime. So we're on episode 252 right now. I probably have another 300 or 400 in my head, but I never reveal anybody's names. So sometimes what I do when I'm creating a character is actually to pull attributes from some people that I've known, so that you can't really figure out who this one specific person is.
Yeah, you never call people
I
out.
never do that. No.
Okay.
I
that's
don't
good.
want to get sued for libel.
Right. Yes. Daddy
Gotcha.
likes
And
his money.
Yeah. and to keep things, private. People like their privacy. I mean, that's just-
Absolutely. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
they never asked to be, written about. So they're my stories, not theirs.
Right.
okay. So basically, they are the unwritable rants.
Exactly.
They really are. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, we've talked about, we've on and off talked after you wrote the first book. You're like, well, do we want to do a second one, or you do a second one? And it's like, do you do another memoir, or do you do something like a fiction story? But
Yeah.
I'm telling you, people just aren't buying books like they used to.
It's not
even
the
close.
same
I mean,
industry.
We're doing a lot better with the podcast than if we were to even
Then if
continue
I were
on with
to-
the book.
If I were to publish these stories as, say, essays
Right.
in a magazine or a book, I'm sure they would do okay, but it would never be the same level that we've achieved with podcasts.
Right.
Gotcha. How about something that was compiled on Audible as just a straight auditory experience?
It probably wouldn't be any different than what we're already doing. And this way I
Gotcha.
can, kind of, monetize it how I want to.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Especially given Audible takes just 50% of the cut off the bat.
Exactly. I mean,
Yeah,
publishing
yeah.
on Amazon, they
Amazon takes a ton too.
70%
with the
of your
books.
profits. So,
Yeah.
you know what, if I can control it, all the better.
Yeah, that's true. It used to be the other way around. Ebooks were 70% you would get, and now
Right.
it's the scale has
flipped
shifted.
over.
It's
Yeah,
flipped. Yeah,
The privilege of having somebody distribute it for you. So.
yeah. It's very disturbing.
Well, we've talked to musicians that we've had on the show. Like, he said the deal was not what he thought it would be.
Very
Mm.
true. Yeah.
He thought, writing a book that you get a, advance. Advances don't exist anymore.
Oh, everybody expects it, that they think you're going to be a writer and published, and all of a sudden the money just rolls right in. It doesn't really
Nope.
work like that.
No,
Doesn't work like
it
that anymore.
completely doesn't. No. No,
And you
not
have to
even-
do so much press for a book these days. They put you out everywhere. The PR
Well,
people
they
and the
don't put
publishers.
you out. You have to put yourself out.
No, well, the PR publishers though of the they're always like sending me stuff.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
get this author on, get this author on. You're like,
No.
I don't know who they are.
Yeah, if you go the traditional publishing route, that's one of the perks of traditional publishing is you have a built-in marketing tool right there. If you're
Right.
publishing yourself, which is what I have done, I have to do everything myself.
Oh, you've done a book?
Yeah.
Oh, tell me about this.
I have, yeah. It's if you're familiar with Nikola Tesla,
God.
My
I've
dad
written.
is a physicist.
Yeah, her dad's
there
a
you-
physicist, and he also has Tesla coils that he's built himself.
Oh fuck!
I
I've got a
have
hard.
stories about
I-
ceilings on fire and neighbors calling the cops because they thought that there were
That's-
explosions going
That's
on.
fantastic. I have a nerd boner right now. That's amazing. So Nikola Tesla in my story, it's a novella series. I just finished up the second book. He teams up with an ex-Civil War cavalry sergeant named Dennis Malone. He has his own issues, his own problems, but they team up and they're like, consider them the first Ghostbusters in New York City circa 1884.
Mhm.
So it's cosmic horror and adventure. So yeah.
Sounds
I
cool.
love that,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
That's great. We'll go out and pick
Tesla-
up the book tonight.
Please do. Tesla and Malone, Lightning's Call. I'll throw it in the Twitter DMs for you.
Yeah,
Right?
please do.
Yeah, do.
Yeah, I think you'll like it. You can read it in one night. It's easy. It's about 70 pages.
Yeah, and by the way, since her book is 9 years old, we don't like push it
I
to
don't
sell it
promote it. Oh,
anymore.
yeah, no.
I'll
We
still
actually-
pick it up and review it.
Oh, she
Yeah.
actually recorded it on the podcast. She did
Listen
an
to it
audio
free. I
version.
did an audio
Yeah,
book on the
for
podcast.
free.
And what I did, which I think is actually better, is I looked at it with perspective after having 9 years behind me as a writer. And
Okay.
I actually
Re-edited it.
I edited it while I was reading it.
Yeah.
And I added in a couple of, anecdotes and some explanations. It's far better in the audio format.
Yeah.
Okay, well, here's the thing. You can't sign an audiobook for me. So I will buy the physical copy. And when I come down, I'll have you sign it for me.
Fair
Both of you
enough.
sign it. Yeah,
Fair enough.
completely. Cool.
As long as you give me a Wawa sandwich.
I
Yeah,
was saying,
trade off.
I will
Yeah.
FedEx you a Wawa hoagie. Yes.
I
Overnight
hear
it.
that they have one in somewhere. I don't think not Winter Park, because Winter Park is the spot I was looking at. Potentially, that was one of the spots I was looking at potentially moving to attend Full Sail. But is it? It might be in Tampa. I think there is a Wawa down there.
In Tampa?
I don't know.
It's,
Oh,
it's
I
on-
think it's like one Wawa in the entire state because
It's
the
on
guy
the East
who
Coast.
used to own
Yeah.
it.
No, 14-hour drive for a sandwich is a little bit.
It's
for
a little
me.
bit too
I'll
much.
pass.
A
Yeah.
little bit.
Yes, yeah.
But I would definitely take one shipped to me.
There you go. You ever come out to New Jersey? You have a place to stay, and yes, you have a Wawa sandwich. Like I was saying, when
Yeah.
Aaron Clary was out here,
We got him the
we-
turkey gobbler.
we introduced. Well, we were supposed to get him the turkey gobbler. You familiar with the turkey gobbler?
I don't know
No.
what that. Oh wait. Yes, I think I remember this. This is that sandwich that has the. It's a turkey. it has the dressing, and it has the cranberry all in the sandwich, right?
Correct. Yes. Yep. It's
Damn.
relatively new and it's fucking phenomenal. It's outstanding. For whatever reason, the Wawa that I took Aaron to, they didn't have it. It was it just gone out of season. Like, fuck. So I got him a regular turkey and cheese hoagie, and he was astounded that it was so good.
Yeah. I still love, I know this is really hack, but I love the Philly cheesesteak. I'm sorry. I just do. I know it's hack to, say, hey, you ever been to Philly? You like the cheesesteaks? It's like, you like the Eagles?
Yeah, exactly. No, the cheesesteaks they're iconic.
They are.
They really are. They are. You have to have one when you're out here. Yeah. Absolutely. And I just
and the food out here is amazing.
Oh, I know. Well, that's why I had to join
jealous.
a gym out here. It's because it's such a different life. You sort of live as though you're on vacation, and it's very easy to just be out, having a cocktail right outside our front door, and then going, well, what the hell? Let's go out for dinner.
God damn it!
Well, you know what? This town is, and I'm going to use your reference earlier of Hemingway. This town is a movable feast.
It absolutely is. I was telling you earlier, my goddamn gym has a full bar in it. Yeah. So even when you go with good intentions, you're still kind of fucked.
Yeah. Oh my god, I love it. I'm definitely coming out.
We're trying not to be 500 pounds by 5 years.
Worked real hard on it.
Yeah.
But
I just saw on your Instagram in bacon grease, no less. You made the cornbread and fucking.
I have a vat of bacon grease in my fridge. I do. We're fucked.
You have to in the South. Yeah. It's law.
Yeah, it is.
It really is. Fried chicken, bacon grease, biscuits, cornbread, iced tea, the sweet tea. Sweet tea.
It's
sweet
tea.
Yeah,
sweet tea.
And I love it because back in the early aughts, I had married a Southern Baptist girl, and her family was from Picayune, Mississippi, and down in New Orleans. Her mother worked in New Orleans. I always remember her saying that the tea containers, the plastic tea containers, they never washed them,
right?
So they could hold the flavor. I'm like, that's disgusting, but also at the same time, it's delicious.
Yeah, I know. It's genius. You just don't question these things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, these Southern traditions that we're finding out kind of like every other day that we had no idea were a thing.
Little things. We invited friends over for red beans and rice the other night, and it was the first time I'd ever cooked for anybody from the South, a Southern dish. And it went over great, but there was one criticism, and that was that it wasn't served with cornbread, which I guess is apparently a thing. So that's why I tried my hand at making it today, so that I could be prepared for the future.
Cornbread's like a fucking napkin in a meal.
Yeah,
it really is. And I saw that you did it in as appropriately as you're supposed to in the cast iron pan.
Oh yeah. Well, I hang on to that for cooking and weaponry.
Absolutely, it does double as a club. Yes. What was that, James?
Is it a home defense implement?
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That thing's heavier than Jesus Christ. I mean, it is a good.
It's a 12-inch skillet.
Yeah, 12-inch cast iron. Yeah, that thing's. That is a true weapon.
Oh yeah, you could do some serious damage with that. Yeah.
If you can actually lift it.
Well, there's that. You have to two-hand that shit. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, that's too funny. So, if you don't mind saying, where are you in New Orleans? You're what location are you?
We're in the heart of the French Quarter.
Yeah, we're right in the center. We're right on Royal Street. Yeah,
it's great.
Yeah, we are right here. So whatever we want to walk to Bourbon Street. It's right there. All the restaurants, everything. We had our first Mardi Gras. It was different this year because they really locked the city down hardcore. There were no parades or anything like that. But with our friends, we were still able to do some walking parades and that sort of thing. So it was just very cool to experience our first one.
Okay, nice. So I'm assuming there weren't as many tourists as there would normally be.
Not at all.
Well, it was for two reasons. One, because of the deeper restrictions for that specific holiday. But also, it was 35 degrees here, which
I know, it never
really
gets
unseasonable.
cold. Oh,
Yeah,
it's
never
horrible.
gets that cold.
Wow.
I'm like,
Damn.
I thought I love this, fucking weather in Chicago.
I know.
This is bullshit.
You know what the beautiful thing of it is, though? It's completely temporary, and not like 2-month temporary. It was 80 degrees yesterday. So
Yeah.
it's okay.
Yeah, I wasn't bitching for long,
Yeah.
but Mardi Gras, I'm like, you could lay me on my back and play ring toss on my nipples. I mean, freaking cold.
Well, it was like Halloween in the Midwest, when you've got to put your winter coat on over your Halloween costume.
Mhm.
It was a pain in the ass. But
And
Oh, yeah.
that's another thing down here that I've learned is that you need a whole separate closet for costumes here.
Oh shit.
Yeah, because there's costumes for Mardi
you
Gras.
dress up for everything.
You dress up for everything. Yeah. It's almost like a make-believe kind of a town. It's weird.
It doesn't feel
It's
real,
like-
but it is.
It's like the mummers at New Year's Eve in Philadelphia.
Yeah, it's very similar. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay.
Very similar. Yeah, and my closet now, I'm starting to get these different outfits. I'm like, boy, the people in Chicago, if they saw my closet, oof,
Well,
they'd be
just
worried.
wait, just wait,
Yeah.
we get you
They'd be
there.
really worried about me.
There's a seersucker suit in his future.
Yeah,
Oh
exactly.
my god. That's
Yeah.
great.
Even that. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a really fun city. It celebrates life. It celebrates everything to do with any kind of, a day, a week, a month, a holiday. It doesn't matter.
You celebrate life.
You celebrate life down here, and that's kind of a really cool thing.
All right. I'm really hating you both right now, especially with this cold weather.
I get it.
New Jersey's the worst. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love cold weather. My mindset on cold weather has shifted since I started riding a motorcycle.
Oh, that would do it. That would do it.
So see, Louisiana would be perfect.
I have
haven't
friends in
bought one yet, so I still
Canada.
love the
Oh,
cold.
sorry. Go ahead, James.
Oh no, I was just saying I haven't bought one yet, so I'm still in my school, my schoolboy years where I look out and I say,
Soon.
I have friends in Canada that drive motorcycles. I go, that must be a really cool 3 weeks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, I haven't removed the battery or put it on a trickle charge. I still ride it in the cold weather to keep it going, and just because I want to do it. Yeah.
Hey, I have 2 friends that are comedians. That one has a show on Amazon that is down by you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, his name is Kevin Goatee and Kevin Israel. They're both are comedians, and they're both in Jersey. And
Oh shit!
yeah, you got to hook up with those guys. I'll connect you with those guys.
Please
I think
do. Yeah.
You would have a blast on the show with them.
Absolutely.
I was half expecting. I don't know why. I was half expecting. What's his name? Robbie the Fire. Dave
Who's
Smith.
that?
No, Robbie the Fire works with Dave Smith. No, I
Who's
don't.
that?
Don't know who that is.
I'm
Dave
not
Smith.
sure.
He's a New York-based comedian. He's part of the same. He's with the same sort of in crowd that like Ari Shaffir and
Oh, okay, cool.
Ah,
Louis J.
okay.
Gomez.
Yeah.
Jay
Oh,
Robertson.
Gomez, yeah. Gaslight Digital, yeah, all those guys.
Mhm.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah,
I gotta connect with those. So those guys are in our area. What do they? What's their main gig, and how things been for them?
they've been doing really well from what I understand with Gaslight Digital. I heard that network is just blowing up, and the advertising money is doing very well for those guys.
That's
Nice.
good to hear. That's good
You
to hear.
gotta love it.
You guys
Especially
mentioned
with
earlier-
comedians. Yeah, comedians are not touring, right? They're not going out, except some of them are doing things like drive-in shows or parking lot shows,
Yeah.
but they're not paying a lot of money. So, these guys aren't doing national, traditional tours. So a lot of them have either started podcasts or have doubled down on podcasting and, building bigger networks. So
that makes sense. Yeah.
Gomez has done an amazing job. Him and trying to remember his partner's name. Oh, geez, big guy.
No clue.
It's not coming to me. But anyway, Gaslight Digital.
Gaslight
Great.
Digital. Okay.
Yeah, doing great as a comedic podcast network. Doing wonderful.
And because the reason I wanted to ask that is because you work in producing. Do you produce for any other, or do you engage in any coaching with other folks in this regard?
I do.
Have people been struggling, or have they been like trying to accelerate it?
It's mix and match. And I'll kind of start with your first question. Do I produce other shows? Absolutely not, because I actually have a day job, and she's enough work for me to last me a lifetime.
He does have his hands full.
Yeah, this is full-time job right here. No, but I mean, seriously, with the YouTube channel, with the podcast, and all the other stuff that we do with, that wraps around that, that's enough work for me outside of my regular day gig.
But you do consult.
But I consult a lot with a lot of other podcasts. And I don't know if you're familiar with Potter and Family on Twitter. Have you ever heard of that?
That sounds familiar to me.
I've seen them come across my feed at least once.
Yeah, that's
recently.
I'm one of the people that are on the board of that. So I deal with a lot of other podcasts and consult with a lot of them and try to help in any way I can for free, of course. It's not a charge, or it's, Potter and Family is nothing more than a hashtag that other people share each other's podcasts with. So it's a pay it forward kind of a thing.
Gotcha.
No one, no money exchanges hands, but it's a good faith thing. And it actually helped us early on. And now we try to help as many other of those podcasts as we've come up.
It's a version of tribal marketing. It takes a village. So it's very give and take.
Okay. Very cool. All right. What are you drinking there? I just saw it.
This is Old
Iced tea?
Yes. It's Old
Okay.
Forester bottled and bond. It's really a perfect bourbon. We were talking about it earlier, just like sort of the different flavor profiles that you get from bourbons. And this one is a little bit more fruit forward. And it's 100 proof. So you still get that, nice boozy flavor, but it isn't overwhelming. Just a great balance.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah, it's 100 proof though. It will kick your ass.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I was just thinking that's up there with, because I've been recently getting into a lot of absinthes.
Oh.
And
what's your favorite absinthe? I have to ask.
I like it's called Ice Island, I think. LA clandestine. La clandestine. Yeah.
That's a
We
Swiss
love that stuff. That's Swiss.
It is.
We have a bottle downstairs right now.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that great?
It's so good. It's so
Where
smooth.
Did you get it?
I had to order it.
It's more widely available than you would think, especially down south.
Okay.
I had to order mine. Yeah.
Surprisingly, another similar absinthe to that is Manson.
Okay.
He also follows a Swiss formula, but he still has some of the more green botanicals in it, so you get a little bit more of a mellow, paler green color.
Yeah.
A little bit more mint forward. It's really nice.
Okay.
Yeah. In an hour, you'll see dead relatives.
I mean, I
was about to say, you're going to see dead people after that one. Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
now,
you just got to balance it with water,
that's true too. Now, speaking of which, do you do the Ukraine method, the classic, or you do the ritual, or you do the classic French ritual?
French.
We
French,
actually,
yeah.
I like the French method best, although I don't like sugar in my absinthe.
Right.
It tastes too much like a Good and Plenty, I feel. So
you could use raw, by the way. That does work nicely.
You can. I just not my thing. I don't like sweet things to begin with. So
okay.
I'm more of a bitter sort of flavor fan.
Gotcha.
You could have stopped it. You're bitter.
So bitter.
Just get a what do you call it? A Sour Patch Kid, and just water over that. But yeah.
That's a different alcoholic beverage.
Exactly. That's where you break out the vodka and throw the Sour Patch Kids in. Yeah.
I love all the misconceptions around absinthe.
I know.
People say, "Oh, you drink that? Absinthe? You see, all these."
No. You're cutting your ear off. No.
There's no hallucinogenic properties. It's all bullshit.
No, the way the wormwood is processed here now is just like, no, you're not. In fact, it's very relaxing.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, it can be. I find for me sometimes, depending on the botanicals in it,
it's like it
actually has a stimulating
Yeah.
correct.
And by the way, if you want to get real French absinthe, we'll send you a website that they will ship it to your house. And by the way, in the U.S., it's not legal.
Well, it depends on the state. They don't ship
Only
to
because
every
the proof.
state.
Yeah, because
they ship
absinthe
everything
is
here to
legal
New
here.
Jersey.
Yeah. No. Oh, I've seen bodies come in containers in New Jersey.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. We have the pine barrens out here. We bury them, bury bodies out. Other states.
There's got to be a mass grave out here somewhere.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I've seen the Sopranos.
Yeah.
Exactly. Other mobs send their bodies to New Jersey to be buried. Yeah.
They found out that cornfields were inefficient, and they just decided to go with pine trees instead.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the deal with absinthe and the proof? What was that cutoff point? You know that.
I don't remember the exact cutoff point. I think anything above 140 is considered illegal.
Right.
Yeah.
And they were selling some at almost 180 proof.
Oh,
Yeah.
I got to get my hands on some of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll send you the website. Yeah, and
Please
they'll
do.
ship it to you, and it ships as, be careful, this is
It just ships as plastic.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's got to be useful because that was the one thing I was searching for when the pandemic started, is because I wasn't allowed to drive anywhere. And I was just constantly searching up. I'm like, oh, who's going to deliver to my house? Who's going to deliver to my house? Because I ran dry the week before lockdown started. And
Well, it wound up being me.
yes, no. Eventually, I came upon Vince here at who. Bless you, Vince. You were a lifesaver. He drove to my house. He saw a post on Twitter I made. He drove to my house with a bottle of Di Serrano, and I immediately put that in my coffee because it was like, I think it was like 10 in the morning or something.
No shit. That's how you guys met, through a Twitter post where he delivered you alcohol?
That's not the post that we met through, but we did meet through Twitter.
Twitter's
Oh my
been
God.
Twitter's been yeah. Go ahead, James. Tell the story.
All right. So I had been following Vince. I'd been following the Masculine Geek Twitter account for something like 6 months, looking through the various Manosphere channels. I saw him get mentioned. I'm like, you know what? It seems like there's a lot of interesting people here. Sort of cleaning up my feed. I want social media to be a positive experience because most people just use it for doom scrolling through outrage bait. And I swear to God, they're taking years off their lives, those poor fools. And I look through and I see Masculine Geek. And so we follow. I think he follows me. And we were going back and forth. A couple different Twitter posts and stuff like that. And then one day I see that they're having some sort of dinner in Atlantic City. And I say, wait, Atlantic City, New Jersey? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, you guys are in my state. And they're like, and Vince immediately DMs me and says, come on up, or come on down. And I had just made the drive a week prior in order to go on a date with a girl who went to the Stockton campus down there. And so I knew the route. So I just hopped in my car and I drove down there. I think I had like an hour to actually head down there. And it was delightful. It was such a nice time. I met Aaron Clary there. I met a bunch of the Masculine Geek crew. I met some friends of Masculine Geek and stuff like that. And that's where that's where the voice started.
Isn't it crazy meeting people in person like that? You've heard their voices, their stories, you meet them in person, and they're either exactly how you think they're going to be or the exact opposite. We've met a couple of people that we've met a couple of people from podcasts, from YouTubing, and it's either awesome or really, really fucking awkward.
It's mostly been awesome.
For the most part, it's been awesome.
Yeah, I think we only had one like really odd experience, but
more than that.
Yeah, maybe so.
Well, I'm not very good with people, so it's probably my fault.
She's a misanthrope.
That makes for all the best social experience.
You just hate everybody equally. Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. I know. They're all on even ground right there. I just don't like them.
I'm with you on that one. Yeah.
But the thing is because with Vince, I walked in there and for the first 2 minutes, I'm like, all right, let me read the room here and stuff like that. And I'm sitting in between two gentlemen who are talking American history, and Vince and Rob were on the other side of the table busting each other's balls. And then there were two guests who were chatting it up with themselves. And after the first 2 minutes, I'm like, all right, I'm just going to join in here. I'm just going to figure that out. And you folks? So do you folks interview other people on your podcast or anything like that, or do you
No,
make connections?
We don't do interviews like that. If we have interviews, they're with an actual celebrity. We don't really do the hangouts or anything like that.
Mhm.
Right.
But we do make appearances on other shows, especially on YouTube. We're kind of developing a nice community of people that we hang out with.
Really cool people at YouTube. Yeah, YouTube is, boy, that's been something that we just started to explore because, we started the podcast 6 years ago. We started the YouTube channel like a year and a half ago.
Right.
And that has brought us into a whole bunch of other communities. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's very different.
If you get into the right kind of crowds, it's a great place to be.
Mhm.
And if you get into the wrong crowds, oof, you can get into the trolls and trouble.
It gets ugly.
Oh, it gets so
ugly. Like anything.
Yeah, it's like anything. It's like Twitter. It's like any social media, right?
Is it with trolls? Is it just like people coming after you, or like degrading your content, or?
Well, not us personally, but we've seen it happen to other channels. You have to be careful on the company that you keep on YouTube.
Yeah,
it's very odd.
The big game a lot of them play is actually with swatting. So when they know somebody is doing a live broadcast, then they will, call the cops and call in a terrorist threat just so that they can see live, what goes down once, the cops pound on their door.
Right.
I've heard of that happening on Twitch a lot. I know a friend of a friend who got swatted in the process of a Twitch stream, like with gaming and stuff like that. I didn't think that was a feature of the YouTube community by and large.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Especially for the ones who do, sort of.
It's only live.
The long live broadcasts.
Yeah.
It's definitely a big game.
It's a thing, if I haven't seen it in a while, probably in about
I feel like it
8
has
months.
definitely dissipated, but for a while it was definitely prevalent.
Yeah, it's still a very odd thing though. But if you get what you put out there, and we try to put out positivity, but also with a snark kind of edge out there, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So we
certainly not there to
no one's really fucked with us.
Yes, that's how you know. Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate the snark and the non-PC vibe you bring to the table. That's very appreciated. Yes,
it's fun. I try to keep it very real in what we're doing. It's just
none of it's scripted on YouTube.
It's just our lives. It's just interactions with people, but we try to make it as fun as we can.
Yeah. Nice. Her podcast is more, I'll call it curated.
The podcast is very scripted and curated.
Yeah.
Because the live show is just off.
The live show is totally off the cuff.
Gotcha. Okay. Now, when you say curated for the podcast, Julia, are you actually writing out your script physically?
I do, yeah. For a 30-minute episode, which is about what they average, I do about 8 to 10 pages of content. Yeah. And then I read it live and then sort of expand work through it so that it comes off sounding more conversational versus an audiobook.
Gotcha. Now, refresh my memory. Both aspects, the podcast and the YouTube, is every week, correct?
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
That's a lot of content.
That's what I was thinking. That's a lot. That's really a lot of creative content to come up with.
Oh, you have no idea.
But if we didn't enjoy it, we wouldn't do it, because we even talked about, because at one time I had my channel going every week where we were both on and doing all the celebrity interviews on there. We had Fee Waybill from the Tubes on, the lead singer from Yes. We had guy from Firehouse, a whole bunch of really cool people.
Oh, shit.
But we're like, this is brutal. I'm done. We couldn't do it. We could do 3 shows. We're like, something has to give.
I mean, we have a life.
Yeah.
Part of having stories to tell is being able to get out and, live your life.
And the reality is, who gives a fuck about David the producer? So we ended my channel.
At least one person in this conversation does.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you as well. That's why you're here. So there you go. You get to see the man behind you're the man that pushes the universe forward here for Juliette. There you go.
I'm a monkey that pushes buttons.
There's that too. Yeah.
Hey man, people enjoy that stuff. What is it? Dick Masterson's show. You got Sean the audio engineer and stuff like that. People love I don't know if that's a recent trend that I've been seeing online, but like, you know, you have the producer behind the camera and stuff like that, and it'll just switch to them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
they'll
it's actually
They're
little-
starting to, pull forward into content.
Well, it was unexpected for us because
Right.
before we did the YouTube channel, it was just, my
Your
podcast,
stuff,
and
yeah.
it's just my voice on my podcast. And David, was behind the scenes doing the editing. And when I started doing the live show on YouTube, David became a character in his own right because we put him on mic behind the camera.
Right.
And then, you've kind of developed this, producer persona that you have, and you're as big a part of the show as anything.
Yeah, it's nice of you to say. At least I know I'm not getting fired tonight.
That's nice.
That's nice.
No, I mean it was I don't know. I love that we have this great sort of dual.
It's fun. The chemistry is fun because
Yeah.
obviously, being a married couple for, we've been together for 13 years, married for 11. We have a really good chemistry. We thought it would be fun to do a show together on YouTube. But I didn't want to be on screen. I'm like, let's, keep you as the focal point. I'll just be the kind of behind the scenes guy. And I like that, just kind of not
Like the Ed McMahon.
anonymity. It's almost like an Ed McMahon thing from way back in the day, right?
Yeah.
Where you're just adding color, right? That's
Yeah,
the
but
fun
now,
stuff.
I mean, I'd say that the live show is almost a 50-50 balance between us.
No, I'd say that I'm better.
Oh, you are. Yeah. The thing is that David is hysterically funny, and I am so not. I mean, I can be sarcastic. I can occasionally be witty, but David has this wit that just comes out, and it's so awesome to see it on a live show.
Yeah.
So you're his straight man, which is perfect. That is great
It's true.
chemistry.
Yeah.
That's cool. Now here's a question. How did you two meet?
You want to handle this one?
Yeah, she answered a Craigslist ad that I put out there.
No,
Chicago, hooker,
He's-
anyone?
he's
No,
not
please?
that far off, actually.
No, actually,
shit.
we met on MySpace, actually. You
No
believe that?
shit.
Isn't that
Wow.
weird?
That's awesome.
I was a musician at the time, and she was a MySpace user.
Well, I was
groupie.
writing about I was writing about local bands, and a singer reached out to a bunch of girls in the area and said, "Hey,
That's
come
funny.
check out the show." And I thought, well, what the hell? They don't sound terrible.
They don't sound terrible.
Boy, I'm going to put that on my business card.
Have you heard
Yeah.
local bands?
We don't
I mean,
sound
let's face
terrible.
it. Local bands are rarely good, so the fact that you guys was pretty outstanding.
That's true.
So yeah, we just we connected and started emailing back and forth, and I went to the show. And
Well, then I read your writing online because you had a blog.
You did. I have
You didn't
blog.
have a book out at that time or anything like that. So I read your blog and I'm like, oh my God, this girl can actually write. She's very creative. And that kind of started up the relationship.
Mm. Okay. It's all
And now
around
we're
this.
taking New Orleans by storm.
Yeah.
Right?
And it's all around this whirlwind of creativity, which is very cool. Awesome.
Oh, David is amazing when it comes to, I mean, like we were saying, writing the podcast every week is a little daunting sometimes. And I jokingly refer to David as my muse because I'll be stuck on a setting or a storyline or something. And you're very good at helping me just work through it.
Oh, we make a good team.
We
That's
do.
it.
We do.
Yeah. That's pretty much it.
Absolutely. That's so cool. It's very rare, actually.
It's certainly not easy to pull off because rarely, most people go through their lives without making anything. They don't write a book. They don't make a painting. They don't
Mm.
do any of that sort of things. And then you have a small minority of creative people who just do everything. They produce so much. And two of you met and got together, and you're still working together now.
Yeah.
Are you guys doing more now than when you were single?
Oh,
Oh,
It might sound like a
yeah.
weird question.
easy. No,
No,
not at
it's
all.
just not.
Not at all. We're doing 69. Oh, wait. Which part?
Oh, so
Oh, you mean creatively. I'm sorry.
Well, we could go into that too. That's fine.
That's a second. Listen, that is a domain of creative output. Nobody's going to
That's more on the pornographic end
here
of
on the
the-
Masculine
of the-
Geek podcast.
No, you know what,
Very
James?
different kind of views.
It's a great question because we inspire, at least I think of it this way, we inspire each other.
Oh yeah.
She's inspired me to do things creatively that I haven't done in a long time. Like I used to, like I said earlier, I used to be in a band way back in the day. I toured with Night Ranger back in the 80s.
Oh, shit.
You know, did a whole bunch of stuff early on, but then when I got into the corporate world, I kind of put all that stuff on the back burner. And then when I met her, and with her well, she was in the corporate world too.
I was a corporate writer.
Yeah, corporate writer. But we put our creative stuff together. We said, you know, if we did this right, we can do what we love to do and fuck the corporate stuff as much as possible.
Yeah.
And
we have the
It's worked
perfect
out.
balance of skills too. I feel like David, you know, for his regular work is heavily involved in sales.
and marketing.
And I'm a writer at heart, and we both have this combined experience in marketing. So we're really able to complement each other when it comes to putting this stuff
Oh, yeah.
together.
She does shit that I could never do in a million years, and I do shit that
That I
she
would never
wouldn't
do.
even want to do in
Yeah.
a million years.
And David is so good at talking to people and so good at making connections with people that I would never have thought of reaching out to or even
Right.
knowing how to speak to. So
Okay, it's perfect complementary relationship. Nice. Okay.
It's past that at this point. It sounds like a force multiplier between the two of you, which is fantastic because, you know, you get to talk to some people in a given. You get to talk to some people when it comes to creativity, and the recommendations are, well, like, you know, stop doing this. Go get a day job. Just do this on the side. It's like, man, with certain creative outputs, there aren't enough hours in the day to do this and a day job.
Mhm.
And unless you have somebody helping you, it's a really tough thing to manage. But it sounds like you two just hit it off, and
oh yeah. I mean,
constant stream of productivity.
it's thanks to all of our hard work that now doing the podcast and, you know, all of my other writing and everything is that's my full-time job. I've been able to give up all the
Corporate life, yeah.
corporate work.
Oh, nice. And not only that, but you're on vacation 24/7, 365 days a year.
I
Fuck.
don't know how my liver feels about that, but
Her liver's not on vacation.
Yeah. Well, that's why.
Never misses the workday.
Yeah. It'll survive. It's hardy. Livers are hardy.
oh yeah, it's resilient.
The good thing is you can always get those replaced.
Yeah, I'll just grow a new one.
Yeah. Ask Mickey Mantle.
We have the technology.
That's right.
Yes.
Get you
Well,
on that
you know what?
replacement list.
I think that our guiding principle, even when we started the podcast, we did the YouTube channel, or anything creative that we've done together, is that you don't get what you don't ask for. So we're never afraid to go to a company to get advertising.
Yeah, to get advertising, to book a guest.
Anything. We have no fear in that area, but no fear also has to be accompanied by, you know, a good plan and also a good pitch and also good content.
Yeah.
So, you know, you have to figure out that package.
Okay. That's nice. That's fantastic.
And some people blow you off if you're too mouthy, and some people blow you off if you don't have they'll accept the initial pitch and they'll ask,
right,
all right, show me the
business plan. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You come up empty, they toss you out then, and there's so many different opportunities for them to just blow you off, even if they even speak to you to begin with. That's one of the things a lot of people I know in my industry struggle with, is they can't get to the people that you need to talk to who have the decision-making power to give you money.
Right.
It's not your problem.
Now, James, you are a voiceover guy, right?
I do. I've just begun my voice career.
Okay.
So yes.
Well, we are pretty good friends with the executive producer of F is for Family, the Netflix show, which is a cartoon, Mike Price. And he's also the executive producer of The Simpsons.
Really?
So, yeah, we'll connect you with him.
Okay, because I heard that name and I said, wait, I've heard
Mike
this.
Frank?
Simpsons, he also did a lot
Emmy
of work with
award-winning, yeah.
Star Wars Lego.
Oh, Star Wars
series, I
Legos.
believe.
That's
Yeah.
right. He did that too. Yeah, he's been on our show like 2 or 3 times. Super, super nice guy.
Yeah, you
Lovely
see-
man.
Now you see how this is happening? It all started with James following us on Twitter and coming to a Masculine Geek meetup in Atlantic City, the Knife and Fork Inn down Atlantic City where Nucky Thompson used to eat.
That's how
And
shit
that-
happens.
Yeah, exactly, and
Yep.
that's exactly. And this whole it's amazing to me how this kind of coalesces and comes together.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Creativity begins with Lobster Thermidor and
Exactly.
all political competition.
Lobster Thermidor
and a lot of alcohol, yes. And
exactly.
There was a lot.
and to get back to what you were saying with asking, pretty much going for what you want, quiet competence gets you nowhere.
Absolutely.
It's
Yeah.
true. I mean, it's unfortunate. I mean, it's too bad that you can have a great product, but if you can't get it out
Mhm.
there and know how to support it, then you're just never going to see any sort of success.
Correct.
What's the phrase for it? The squeaky wheel gets a grease.
Mhm.
Yeah, or the tree that falls in the woods one day.
Yeah.
I totally get it. It's this, and we've always felt this way about podcasting and YouTubers and anyone creative that we've run into, is that people that we run into that are very positive and want to really do what they want to do, and they're really behind what they do, will go out of our way. They've gone out of their way to help us. We've gone out of the way to help them. This is a pay it forward kind of environment. This isn't just you're on your own and go fuck yourself. This is it takes a village to try to make people do what they want to do and who be who they want to
it's
be.
just about raising each other up,
Right.
and being supportive.
Very
And
true.
it's beautiful. It's beautiful because here's my next question. So I'm in the tabletop industry as well. That's where I originally got my start. And that
I'm sorry, what's tabletop? Am I a dork?
Dungeons and
No,
Dragons.
it's totally
D&D.
I'm the dork for engaging with this stuff.
No, my apologies. I think D&D stands for Dunkin' Donuts. Sorry.
Oh, it does
It's not
actually.
far off. It's one of the. I mean, America runs on dragons, as they say.
Mhm.
She used to be a D&D chick, by the way.
I did in the 80s.
Really?
Absolutely.
Well done. Well done. Yes.
That's all right. That's going to be my next question. But
Yeah, but then I found King's Quest. So
there you
Yeah.
go.
No.
Listen, it's okay to switch these things up. It's these people in the tabletop industry, a lot of them, the indie creators and stuff like that. You got people who are big names and they do a crowdfund or something like that, and they get $500,000. And then you have some people who are struggling to put together like a single grand for a given Kickstarter, which is probably going to output a mediocre product, which is where I was 4 years ago. They get so jealous and cutthroat and crabs in a bucket. They will go after people for like, why didn't you, giant creator, come to me to offer me work and sort of lift me out of this destitute situation that I'm in? And it's the only industry where I've seen that kind of get any kind of traction or any kind of retweets. It's the only industry where I've seen that personally. This could just be total inexperience, where I've seen that actually get any kind of anything other than total derision of like, why are you being so vindictive to these people who are successful?
Mhm.
Is that something that you see in podcasting, or how do people treat each other there?
ooh.
Podcasting is exactly the same way.
Podcasting
Really?
There's sort of the expectation there that people are owed the whatever it
listen.
is. Yeah, the listen. And then they get very vindictive when that doesn't happen. And like,
No, that's generalities,
Yes,
because
yes.
there's a lot of amazing people that we've met through podcasting. I mean, I can't tell you how many friends we've met and that are unbelievable.
oh,
But
yeah,
we've also seen the petty side
absolutely.
that is like, wow, it's
and we've
crazy.
We've been the brunt of it. I mean, for a while, I think there was always the assumption that, me as a solo host David was writing all my content for me.
Right.
You know, we had a lot of accusations of that early on. And then people like the, well, you just paid for all of your followers argument.
Right.
When none of that is true. And it's just their way of kind of, you know, cutting people down because they just haven't gotten up there yet.
Yeah, but we really didn't get a lot of heat ourselves, but we saw other podcasts.
Oh, a lot of, yeah.
That have, you know, hit a lot of heat. You know, I think it hits with any creative element.
Look,
I mean, it happens in the acting community. It happens
the minute you
with the
put
musicians.
anything out there, it is going to be subject to criticism and to
That's right.
you know, reaction of some sort.
I was in, you know, obviously being a musician, musicians used to, oh my God, they were the most brutal
They're so
fuckers out there. They're like, did you hear that guy's album?
Yeah.
That sucked balls.
You can't play.
They can't play. It's creative competition. And it's all, the amazing part about being a creative is that if people listen to you, then you're successful. It's not, you can't deny that. You cannot deny success if people, you have a following because they enjoy what you do. And that just becomes other people just not having that same level of success. And they go, well, why does that person have it? And that's weird to me. Weird.
Well, and you know, like we were saying before, it comes down to being willing to put in the work and to
The time.
create good content, and then also to put in the effort to support those around you who are good to you, and,
Right.
and you know, they'll pay it forward. So it's really just a matter of trying to be as good to as many people as you can and ignoring all of the
All the
noise.
negative shit.
Yeah.
And you know what? We haven't had negative shit around the show in at least 3 years.
Knock on wood.
Yeah. No. Oh,
That's
hey,
fantastic.
well, you know, now that we put that out
I
there
know,
on
right
YouTube,
now.
they're going to be like,
You're-
hey,
you're
these
done.
guys, go
You're
fuck
done.
yourself.
Yeah, I know.
That's the thing is, I guess they figured out. It's like, well, shit, it's not working here. We better move elsewhere and stuff like that. Because I tend to see that seems to be the only talent those sorts of people have is getting Gary. That's the only thing that they tend to get creative with is how can we bring this other person down and stuff like that. And they'll just move on.
Yeah.
Right.
They'll move on to the next thing.
Yeah, we stopped focusing on, or we didn't never even really focus. Anytime something really super negative would happen or somebody tried to really screw with us, we
Let
would
it go.
completely ignore it. I mean, ignore it hardcore. And, you know, they go away. They're not, you know,
And don't fuel the fire.
they don't fuel the fire ever. Because if you fuel the fire, boy, will they come at you hard. We've seen it happen on
And
the
there's
podcast.
no winning.
Oof. No, you're not going to win it.
Yeah. Because the sort of engagement that they're looking for is they
Exactly.
want you to respond. They want to
That's right.
leverage this for themselves.
Yeah.
There we
Oh,
that's-
you guys have a D&D conversation? Because I'm going to go get some more bourbon.
That's right. I wanted to ask you about that next, which is likely what Vince is doing right now. He's probably grabbing something from one of the local wineries that we have around here.
Nice.
He told me about some wonderful spice wine that he picked up from a spot in Hamilton. It was like this blueberry, Hamilton's blueberry capital of the states, and he raves about it constantly. I think it was blueberries. Yeah. You mentioned that you were a D&D gal back in when was this?
I would say 85, maybe. And it didn't last entirely long. It was maybe a year or two of it. I started playing with one of my cousins, actually. But my dad is a physicist, and he's always been kind of high on technology. So we always had different computer setups in the house. Like we had the TRS-80 computer in there that's handy. And when he brought home the King's Quest computer game, that, you know, graphic game, I was just so into it that I just lost focus on everything. It was just all about the King's Quest.
That's interesting. That's because I hear that from writers often, especially when they were kids. It's like they'll be into fantasy and gaming, and I don't know what it is, man. I feel like it just unlocks something in your brain and feeds into it. Where if you could take whatever it's putting in and put it out there, you can translate it into any number of subjects. You mentioned that you were writing about musicians, And it's this mode or style of writing. I don't know how to describe it, like a mindset where you get to focus on saying things that other people are not saying and saying it in a way that other people are not doing it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's weird. It's so weird. Creativity is one of these subjects to me where I'm fascinated by it. I do not understand it because most people do not understand it today. And
there's no way of really explaining where it comes from, and I get asked, where do you get your ideas from? How is your, how do you write? And there's no real answer to that because it's just something that happens.
It's inspiration. That's about the key of it.
Yeah,
right?
I wish I could map it out in some technical format, but it just
that's why the Greeks try to explain it by the 7 different muses.
Exactly.
It's like, okay, well, where does this come from? It must be divine. And we have to somehow categorize and chart that and describe that. So there you go. But it sounds like both of you are muses for each other.
We kind of are.
Yeah. It's over time. It's become that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Goes back to that earlier force multiplier thing, which again is it's just beautiful. You love to see it.
Oh, absolutely. Better together than you are apart. Yeah. Absolutely.
Oh my God, without her, I'd be lost. And plus, she holds my credit card, so I'd be lost too.
Lost and broke. So
yeah, lost, broke, and homeless. Yep.
I know.
My mother raised short kids, not dumb ones.
I like
Oh shit, that's funny. Now you mentioned you're a musician. What do you play?
Bass player for many years. Matter of fact, I was in a band with the singer from Kansas that we had on our show just recently. Matter of fact, we had him in our living room.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the singer from Kansas,
Nice.
Ronnie Platt.
Yeah.
I toured with Night Ranger, like I told you about, but that was a very short period of time. It was only over a summer.
Yeah.
I loved it. I loved being a musician, but then I realized one day you gotta eat. Really?
Yeah, you do. You need to build a life. And if you look at a lot of musicians these days, particularly the ones from the 80s who had the more moderately popular bands like, Slaughter or Skid Row or something like that, the guys are still kind of slugging it out, but it's nowhere near the level of success that it was. And that's just because music changes.
Yeah. Mm. And, from there, I moved into... ended up going to college, got a technical degree, went into technical, I did technical stuff like network stuff for a bank for a while. And then I went into sales. And then from sales, I went to sales management. And from there, where I'm at right now, I'm a sales leader for a pretty large technical company out of the West Coast. But I still get to do all the cool creative stuff based on what she does. So I love it. I get the best of both worlds. I get to have a really fun and great career that I love. And I also get to do the creative stuff that I've always embraced. I'm so lucky.
It sounds like you have experience in basically every single aspect of the creative of what you would need to make a creative output succeed. You have sales, you have marketing, you have the business end, and then you have the actual creation of it.
Well, I have enough to where, we've gotten where we're at. I mean, we're no Joe Rogan though. So, don't give me that much credit.
We don't have the luxury that he has.
I'm not, we're not getting $10 million a year from Spotify. So
not yet. Not yet.
Not yet. It's on the way.
But, we keep making incremental jumps every year, and that's what keeps us interested. And that the audience keeps raising every year. And we're so thrilled and lucky to have all the people that listen to your show. It boggles my mind when I see the numbers and I see the comments and the people that do stuff.
Oh, the fact that they actually enjoy listening still kind of is
It's weird to me. Yeah. I remember the early days where it was just like, you hear the canyon. Hello. nobody for the first
Yeah.
6 months, right?
Yeah.
It's
Mhm.
friends and family for 6 months, and then
Yeah.
you try to build from there. So
Yeah.
it's been cool.
Oh yeah, and the organic is somehow you're seeing your efforts pay off
Mhm.
in that organic following. You really are.
Yeah, it's gratifying.
Yeah.
But I really think this, and I've seen this with other shows that I've seen that have been that have jumped up in that we've come up with. It's almost like a class, right? Because we've had people that we've come up with in a class, like Who's Right podcast, right?
Mhm.
So there's these people that just like jump up in stature, and you go, well, what made all of that happen? And you look at the pieces and break them down. And by the way, Who's Right podcast is a good friend of our podcast. They're really dirty humor kind of guys.
They're
But-
raunchy guys, but very funny.
But they have a very popular show, and
Mm.
they've done really, really well. And
Nice.
we compare notes a lot to say, well, what kind of brought this thing or to the next level, or got it up to here.
Well, people don't realize that you constantly have to shift your ideas,
Yeah.
especially in podcasting, because what might have worked 6 months ago isn't
Not
going
gonna
to
work
work
all the
now,
time.
because the technology is constantly changing, the way people listen changes, and even what they're listening to.
Right.
And although my show hasn't gone through tremendous format changes,
Oh, it's been huge from the beginning.
there have been some very distinct changes that we made along the way, just to continue to upgrade the content and
Mhm.
continue to improve on what
Is
we're
there
doing.
is there anything that stands out that really gave you the numbers?
I think it probably happened around episode 100,
Yeah.
when I really found my voice as a storyteller, and I started developing a couple of characters that return to episodes now. Two in particular that I continually come back to would be the character of Texas and the character of Crazy Town.
Yeah.
They're both girlfriends that I've had, and they're very distinctive people and very different. And I'm able to work them into stories. And now I have people who actually follow along, and there's Team Crazy Town and Team Texas. And,
Or aren't you hanging out with one of them recently? Or
Texas is coming this
Yeah,
weekend.
Texas will be
Yeah.
here this weekend.
Yeah, I am so trying to work a three-way. You have no idea.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
Yeah,
no
do
idea.
it, do it. You have to come back on the podcast and we'll talk about it.
We'll talk strategy.
No, that's creative energy. Yes.
You know what? That's going to
Hell
cost
yeah,
me 50% of everything I own. That's what I'm saying.
Or
It's-
add an extra 50%.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it could be. Listen, this is investing here.
Mhm.
We're going to the moon. No, it's God. That's so funny because if you have a recurring character, you get to work in like in jokes, and you get to
absolutely.
iterate on a conversation with the audience.
Yeah.
The arc of the podcast is actually very similar to the arc that you see in series, whether it's something on Netflix, like, I can't think of anything off the top, like Sex and the City, actually. I don't like to compare myself to it, but the narrative arc is very similar because you see these characters growing and developing over time, and you watch as they progress. And I'm able to do that both with my own character of myself in the stories. And even though they're not told in a linear fashion, you can definitely see the evolution in actions and thought process. So it's
Yeah, you don't have to listen to them in order.
yeah, you don't. It's not. I never do it sequentially because I
Right.
want people to pick it up wherever they want.
Exactly. And it
And
works
you're
very
never
well.
lost.
Yeah. No.
So
Yeah.
it's always a challenge to kind of keep that moving.
Well, Vincent, you heard the podcast, and I hate to put you on the spot
No,
here,
it's fine.
but
Go ahead.
what do you like about the podcast, and what do you not like about the podcast?
That's a good question. I don't think there's anything I don't like about it, or
No,
I haven't.
well,
I haven't
because
found.
we're here. No,
I haven't-
We're very.
I haven't found
we're
anything.
alligator skin here. Go ahead.
Well, it's one of the main things I love about it. Well, all right. One of the things I don't like about it, it's too short. Because your writing style and your speaking style is so engaging and entertaining, I'm expecting it to last a little longer. So I'll be shaving, and I have a ritual where I use a straight razor, and I'm shaving, and I'm
love
like,
straight
oh,
razors.
fuck, this isn't long enough for my straight razor ritual. God damn it. So if you could do a Vincent straight razor 45-minute podcast.
But, you know, it's funny that you should say that, because one of the biggest changes that I've made in content is that when I started doing this in the 30 minutes, I was actually telling 2 very short stories within one episode.
15 minutes and 15 minutes. And that was hard.
And it was hard to maintain that. So I changed it to doing 1 full episode, which gives me more flexibility in fleshing out characters.
It's still too short.
And I love you for saying that, but there's no way I'm making a
Do you know how hard it is to create 7
Not even 1 for me.
Bless your heart. But no, that is not happening.
You know what? We'll do 1 for Vincent. I don't give a shit about that.
You don't have to write it.
I'll write it.
Thank you, David. There you go. It's a Vincent shaving episode.
You know, when you're doing 30 minutes a week and then doing the YouTube channel,
that's a lot.
She just doesn't have the time, unfortunately.
No, I get it. Yeah,
that's just a lot. Yeah.
So that's my only complaint.
But I appreciate that, though.
Of course, yeah, I do. The time goes by fast. Everything everything is, your stories are set on a platform of humor, which I love.
Always.
I love that. It's engaging. It's just, it goes by so fast and it's so entertaining. Thank you. So that's very cool.
Every so often I throw a think piece in there.
Yes.
And it's always interesting to see how those episodes go over. They're always the ones I get the least amount of feedback on, and I don't know.
Nobody wants to think right now. Nobody. Nobody.
I'm like, God damn it! But this is good stuff here, people.
I know, right? Well, it's like the recent one I just listened to is the one with the bingo at work.
Oh, yes.
And you had. Exactly.
It's like I Love Lucy. Yeah.
Exactly. I was laughing out loud that when you were like calling out the certain numbers based on the aspects of the people of the company. I'm like, that's brilliant. That's fucking fantastic. But it didn't go over quite the way you thought it was.
Oh, no.
It was going to. So, but you did have a moral at the end of the story.
That was a real gig too.
And I try to put a moral at the end of the story. Sometimes it's buried, and sometimes it's not exactly a good moral. It's not conventional, but I hope that people walk away, at least having learned something, even if it's, don't drink and text your boyfriend or something like that.
Yeah. Well, just as you were describing everything leading up to it, it's like these people were completely insufferable. But at the end,
they were the worst. Yeah.
Yeah, but at the end, you pulled a silver lining out of it. Like there was a part that you did miss, their positivity.
Yeah, it's funny like that, and all of these stories are always kind of inspired by little things that happen around me. And I tied that back to the fact that we are making new friends here, and it's a very different experience for me because everybody expects me when they meet me to be this outgoing, crazy kind of drunken chick. And the fact is I'm very deceptively reserved. So, when I'm surrounded by that kind of energy, I always tend to react very negatively toward it.
And by the way, that's when she's not naked.
So basically what you're saying is both of you aren't wearing pants right now.
No.
Pants are stupid.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's beautiful.
Oh, it's amazing. I love it.
And the funny thing is, doing humor is you get to turn off people's defenses a little bit. That's a perfect spot to enter in a little bit of it's not preaching or lecturing people or anything like that. Right. It's like, it's, hey, here's something I took from this. I'm just going to leave this for you after having made you laugh for half an hour to an hour.
Well, David Sedaris does that pretty well. He's always been somebody that I've been very inspired by. And I think he's great about telling a story, but giving you a little bit of that emotional pull to it where you respond and start to think about it more in the aspects of yourself. So,
yeah, I saw him live. It was just completely amazing.
Oh, he's so good. He is just so good. I admire him tremendously.
We tried to see him live a couple times and just never worked out from time.
I did his master class.
Yeah, we
Watch
did.
that.
Oh, that's right. He did have one of those, didn't he?
it
Yeah,
was
yeah.
very good.
Yep. Oh, yeah. He was here in Philadelphia. All right. Am I still frozen, James?
You are.
Yes.
What the fuck? All right. Let me stop my cam. We'll just do the speech.
But your audio is
My
Yes,
audio is
spot
crisp
on.
and clear. Yeah.
awesome.
For whatever reason, I'm. Oh wait, there you go. I got the two. I got the two waves on the connection is fairly good if you're on Wi-Fi. Let's see, what does it say? There we go. I'm back.
Windows 3.11 or
I know,
what are we
right?
looking
It's
at?
Windows 95 or some shit over here. I should be back now. Am I okay?
Nope.
Nope.
What the f? All right, let me just stop that.
Don't worry, you are frozen in a perfectly handsome position. Nobody.
As well, I should be. Yes,
You're sexy, Frozen.
that's right.
Rob, we'd like you to draw a mustache on Vincent.
Oh no editing, Rob. Stop that. No. Too funny. Well, let's take this moment, James. It's your moment to do the commercial. So go ahead.
Gentlemen and ladies, please hit the like button. We are at the hour and a half mark, so you know exactly what you have to do. You have to hit the like button. You have to hit the subscribe button. It's down near the about section. You know how YouTube works. You know what you have to do. Hit the like button.
Exactly. It hits the tingles of the YouTube vagina.
Wow,
It gets it
y'all
going.
It gets her
are
going.
nicer about that than I am. When I do the live show, I abuse the hell out of people.
Oh,
My
shit.
God, you know what? That actually worked.
I scare them into it.
Yeah.
Really?
It's like,
So
hit
you
the fucking like button. They literally
I'm
did.
like, oh my God, okay, I will. Stop yelling at me.
I'm gonna I'll add
Scared
that.
boot camp them into it.
I'll add that to the show notes. There you go.
And by the way, James, I thought I had a decent radio voice, and I've never been at radio. I got nothing on you. I
Would you be surprised to know I get that often? I hugely appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yes. Now,
I
James.
keep getting sexually harassed when I go on like Destiny 2 raids or any of these other video game raids and stuff like that. I'll run into looking for group, and I will be
That's
immediately
You're
hit by these
probably
people.
asking for it.
It pretty much exactly.
It must be the microphone I'm wearing or
Exactly. You got to stop wearing that black T-shirt.
skimpy microphone.
Exactly.
Yeah. Exactly. What kind of microphone is that, by the way, James? I can't even tell, and I'm an audiophile. Is that an AT?
That was from the
210?
1990s. It's from the 1990s.
No.
I think
No,
this
no,
is Mr. Microphone.
Is it an AT? Or,
This is a little bit of interesting history. So I believe the name
Audio Technica?
Yeah, there we are. ATR 2100.
Nailed it.
Nailed it.
AT, you had it. I found this off. This was from the Tom Woods show. Listening to that guy,
God bless you.
Nice.
right? He was what he's a fantastic guy, fantastic person. Hoping when I do eventually visit Florida, I'm hoping to visit with him. He used to advertise his microphone in the back of his episodes and say, "Listen, you don't have to get a Blue Yeti for perfect audio quality. Just
No.
this
By
thing
the
is
way, Blue Yeti.
Yeah,
Boo.
yeah.
No, you got.
they've gone down in
There's
quality."
so many better microphones than those.
Yeah, it was like a colossal $400 purchase for
Right.
something that turned out for a lot of people to be mediocre because they didn't have things adjusted properly, or
Right.
their gain was off by a millimeter.
Right.
This thing is $80. I bump it up to 100%, and it catches everything.
She used to do the AT 2100 for the podcast, and then we just got the brand new Shure. Holy mother of God. It's not that expensive, and it is the best microphone for podcasting I've found by far. And that's
Fantastic.
6 years searching. Yeah.
You're gonna have to send me the link for that because
I will.
that excites me.
It kicked my ass when I heard how great it was.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I wasn't even talking into it. It was her.
Yeah, but that means nothing. I just pop into whatever it is and I say, all right.
That's funny.
That's one of these weird things when it comes to any kind of production, I guess, is there's different kinds of voices, the different kinds of tones. I don't even know if it's coming through on my microphone, but if you meet me in person, my voice tends to hang in the air for an extra second or two. And it's usually the deeper tones of my voice that come out that way. And that's what, in person tends to be the James Streissand radio voice and stuff like that I actually developed while I was a cashier. Did you guys have a specific voice or tone or some kind of style that you had to work to make sure was captured on your podcast?
Well, I used to work in radio and in TV, and I used to do some light acting work. So hosting a show wasn't entirely different for me. But the problem that I have, and actually it's the problem that David has, is that I do have asthma, and especially now living in a house that's pretty much lined with mold.
Oh shit!
It's a natural insulator.
Yeah, it can be a little bit of a challenge for me to maintain proper breathing.
Yeah. And for me, I mean, my voice just over time and age just kind of developed into what it was. But the reality was that I think that I got my actual voice when I worked, and it's so funny you mentioned that, James, is retail. Retail.
It was the same for you.
Oh my God. I worked at Ace Hardware at the age of like 14, and I had to talk to the public, and I had to talk to them different than I did as a high school kid. So it changed the way that I talk to people and made you more adult and more educated, and you were selling stuff. So that was like my school for voice. Odd. You are the first person I have met that's had that same experience. Yeah.
I find that very interesting because you are talking to people. I mean, you're talking to people who drive, who have money. So generally speaking, they're going to be adults. And they want to know what information you can give them. And they sort of they probably want to like you. They probably want to leave this interaction with a smile, but they also need you to give them something like
it's service.
You need to provide
you need to provide a service and do it in a very professional fashion. So what we're saying is retail makes your balls drop. Who knew?
I will co-sign that 100%. I will co-sign that 100%.
Wow, that's so funny. We have the same experience. That's cool.
It's odd.
What's odd?
I wanted every person who came through that store to leave there with a smile, and I succeeded 100% of the time, about half the time. But yeah, it's weird how there's these, because your voice has a maturity to it, and there's this understanding.
James, that's so nice of you to say that I'm old, but I get it. I get it.
I know you have a very seasoned voice.
You have a seasoned voice, and by the way, that salt and pepper in your hair.
There you go. All right.
Oh my God! No, it sounds like an affirmation. It sounds like like I said, it's calming, it's friendly. There's these little peaks to it. What's up?
Isn't it funny? Even at your age, James, and you're a younger guy than I am. That deeper that tone of voice. Yeah. It gets you more experience, or they think you're more experienced than you actually are.
It sounds like the voice of Dad.
Yes.
That's how people react to it. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
You gotta love it.
It's usually a force for good. Occasionally somebody's gonna piss us off. Occasionally somebody's gonna piss us off on the phone or something like that. Like we try to make a doctor's appointment and somebody hangs up a little too early, and you say, "I'm gonna call that man back." And they're going to think that they just touched the thermostat when they were 6. We're going to fix this.
My 3 sons.
Right.
No, the bourbon doesn't hurt either.
Exactly.
The bourbon and cigars.
Exactly.
Yep.
Well, when you guys have a chance and, the country opens back up again, of course, you guys are both welcome down here anytime to New Orleans. We would love to have you down here as guests.
Yeah.
Thank you. Absolutely. It's on my list of things to do this year, actually. Yeah.
And New Orleans it looks, circling back to what we started with, it looks like a different part of the country. It looks so, like the architecture is so beautiful.
It's very Parisian.
Everything here has a history. The building that we live in, It was built in the 1800s. It used to be a school for fencing. Every building here has a story. You know, there's something to know about it or to experience in it. You would be surprised to find that half of these old buildings have these crazy, beautiful little courtyards tucked behind them. You'd never
even see
them
them
here.
Yeah.
It's just the most magical city I have ever experienced.
Nice.
Right. Like I've seen street views and things like that. It looks like each one is kind of packed in like a condo or something like that. But I'm guessing there's this backside to it, which is open and gives you some fresh air.
Absolutely.
Well, we live in the building that we live in. There are two on Royal Street. There are 2 units on the 3rd floor and the 2nd floor, and then there's retail on the front. You walk through the front door. We are actually considered, and this is nothing, racist or weird, but they always call the back entrance the slave quarters. So we live on the 2nd and 3rd floor in the back. So what that means is that when we go into the quarter, it's like going to the Wizard of Oz. We open the door and say,
shit.
"Whoa!"
Yeah.
Behind the curtain.
But back here, we hear nothing.
I know, we're
it's so quiet.
Far enough back that we're isolated from the noise of the streets. But what's amazing and what I love more than I can even put into words is the fact that from here, when you have the windows open or we're sitting on the balcony, you can hear the cathedral bells every hour. And it's just beautiful. It's so cool. And it just continually reminds you where you are.
Right.
That's so beautiful. Walking out the front door transports you into a different world. That is.
It does.
It's Wizard of Oz. Literally,
Yeah.
every time you walk out that front door, it's like, what are we going to see right now?
Yeah.
All right,
And
you know what?
It could be anything.
James and I are in frozen New Jersey. Just stop.
Sorry.
I'm gonna put in my vote
Apologies.
for the Masculine Geek trip. I'll say we'll do. My
wanna-
vote will be New Orleans. That
we
wasn't
can
one of
do-
the options, but I'll put my vote. in for
We can do 3. We're doing another Masculine Geek trip around September, October.
That's
We were-
the right time to
Oh,
come
by
out
the
here.
way, that's when the festivals are opening back
Yeah,
up out here.
yeah.
Oh, you totally got to come out.
That may be
French
option
Fest
number
October.
3. Yeah.
Hey,
It's settled
Vincent and James, are you two guys horror fans?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Do you know-
Especially the Hammer horror films. Yeah.
Then do you know Joe Bob Briggs?
Yep.
I do not.
Oh, he's become kind of a mentor to me. I had him
Oh no shit.
on the live show about a year or 2 ago. And over that time, we just started communicating and, talking about writing. And he was nominated for a Pulitzer Prize. A lot of people don't know that, for his coverage of 9/11. And he's doing The Last Drive-In, and we're trying to angle for him to get an episode shot out here in
New Orleans. He's going to come out here and do one.
The Last
Yeah.
Drive-In, wasn't that based off of a graphic novella?
No, not this version. No.
Okay.
Yeah, but he had Monster Vision in the 90s.
In the 90s on
Yeah.
TNT. Yeah.
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 And he was in the movie Casino, of course.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, we're trying to make a lot of things happen out here in New Orleans, a little bit outside of what we do with the podcast, and
Right.
if we can facilitate some interesting get-togethers or other
Yeah.
podcasters coming out here, we're always willing to help.
Cool.
And,
All right.
and Vincent and James, if you guys do end up coming out here, we'd love to have you come out here to our place. We'd
Sure.
love to have you on our, the live Bourbon Soak Live. If
That'd
you
be
guys
great,
come out
yes.
here,
Yeah, for sure.
We'd totally love to have you out.
That'd be
That'd
awesome.
be fantastic.
Yeah.
God, that'll be a time to remember.
And James, I got to introduce you to Mike Price from The Simpsons.
Yes.
All right.
And
Absolutely.
maybe
Listen, I will.
Steve Blizzin.
And who's Steve? Steve Blizzin.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I didn't even think about him.
Yeah.
Yes.
Who's
does
he
the-
from? I know that name.
He's the producer for The Creepy. The podcast, The Creepy.
Creepypasta.
There's
Oh.
huge.
Did he?
Yeah.
Okay,
We went
I
to-
heard somebody
People
from
out
the.
there his wife. Yeah, they're
Oh my
awesome
goodness.
people.
Oh shit. Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
So you guys are just. Clearly you guys are turning New Orleans into the cultural capital of the United States at this point. That's what
Well, we
we'll
can.
give it like
We're
10
trying.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to make this the podcast capital.
Well,
That's right. Well,
No,
you've
no.
got our vote. You've got our vote. Shit.
I doubt that.
Select
You know what?
podcasts.
But we do have the PETM podcast coming out here.
We do indeed.
Yes, they are a NASCAR race car, podcast.
Oh.
Really super popular.
yeah,
They
they're-
get a
they're
lot
very
of the
cool guys,
NASCAR
yeah.
drivers on, and they're coming out here to
They're
hang out
coming
with
out
us in
yeah.
NOLA soon.
Yep.
When
Nice.
is it?
April.
End of April?
April.
April. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So that's the great part of the community. When you have
Yes.
creators that are just super positive and are doing great things, and you can connect like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
How much fun is that? It's
Yeah.
great.
It's
And
totally
if you,
beautiful.
if you drink, it doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Absolutely. All right, we're coming up on the 2-hour mark.
Oh,
Um,
jeez.
Guys,
I know,
this is
right?
been a
It's already an hour
blast.
and 44 minutes. Yeah, it's
Shoot.
been it flew by. Holy shit.
That's
So-
for sure.
Let's I want to turn it around to the creative aspect and what you're doing now. Like, what are you working on now?
Well, in addition to the podcast and the live show, I'm working with a production company out of New York to actually turn some of my podcast stories and characters into a TV series for an online network.
Oh, no shit. That's awesome. Cool. All right.
Yeah, it's a huge work in progress.
It's not a done deal
It
yet.
is certainly not
No.
a done deal. We've had some very light interest in a pilot, but the pandemic kind of put a stall on
That
a lot of our
screwed that
work.
big time.
So
Yeah.
we're hoping things will pick up again. But otherwise, I'm always writing, so you just never know what's going to come out of it.
And that's the joy of it. There you go. Okay. Now, would that, as far as a TV series, would that include you as being a narrator?
I would like that, because what I'm fashioning the script after is kind of like the old school radio format, like what they did with the movie A Christmas Story, where you have Gene Shepard narrating the story.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's
Or Stand By Me. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's
Yeah.
what I'm working on, and ideally I would narrate it, but who knows? I think
She wouldn't. Yeah, neither of us would be playing ourselves.
what I'm most
I have Brad Pitt in mind for me.
that's the weird part. There's going to be some chick playing me in this.
Yeah.
That would be weird.
Fucking
That'll
weird.
be a little strange. Yeah.
Yeah.
Strange, but cool.
Very cool.
And
cool.
very flattering. I mean, that's just awesome.
well. It's
Yeah.
like the idealized
How-
version.
There you go. Well, how did that happen? Is that something that just fell in your lap, or did you have to?
It kind of did. The producers were actually fans of the podcast,
Right.
and they'd been listening for a while, and
Mhm.
they approached me after having read my book and said, we think this would make a great series. And initially the idea was to fashion it after the book, but I don't feel the book has a strong enough storyline or
Right.
through line to
No
carry
arc.
a series.
Right.
What I wanted to do was shape it more after my two favorite characters and the experience of working in the music industry in Los
Hmm.
Angeles. So think of it like, and I'm using Sex and the City as a reference again, but it's kind of
Hmm.
like, Sex and the City set in the 80s with rock stars.
Nice. A lot of goth
that
chicks.
does sound fun.
A lot of goth chicks. There you go. Nice.
Yeah.
Oh no, we're talking hair metal chicks.
That's true too. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, this is like Motley Crue days.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, so it's
Nice.
so the hair is going out to here.
Yep.
Oh yes, yes.
Big
yes,
hair.
yes. Yeah, that was my time. That's what I did.
A lot of
Yeah.
hairspray. Yes. Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I
I
was blonde then.
I
So we'll
graduated.
see.
I graduated in 1988. So there you go.
Ah, there you go. You're right
Yep.
there.
Yep.
I graduated in 2010.
Really?
No, I was 84. I was
84. Okay.
Yeah.
We're in the same generation. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you have the cooler shades.
You know what? And I do have to, say this because people say you wear, sunglasses on camera to be cool or something like that. No, actually, I had hyperthyroidism. So when the lights are here in the studio,
Blinding
and
you.
we have two of them.
Mhm.
It hurts my eyes, so I actually have to wear them. So
Gotcha.
my apologies for that. So
No.
No,
It
no
fits
apologies at all.
perfect.
It leans
fits
into
perfectly.
the mystique.
Exactly.
Mystique.
Mystique.
The mystique of
The
new people we
mystique
have
of David, the producer. We don't even know your last name. It's just David,
No.
the
Well,
producer.
That's very deliberate.
That is
Yeah.
very deliberate because my professional gig.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. Miranda is not my last name. It's
No,
my middle name. So.
I assumed. Yeah, no, that's cool. Yeah, my name is straight up my name. You go ahead and Google me or throw me.
And I know
Amazon.
James' last name is his real last name.
Yes,
Come on,
James
James.
Streissand
is actually a pen name. It's not my. I consider it my real name. It just happens to not be my birth name. We'll see if I keep my birth name after I'm out. But you know,
No, you have to.
There you go.
You have to use that as your nom de plume, as it were.
There's shutters up there below.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, it's a little.
I don't know
windy
if you
out
can hear it, but our shutters are banging around outside. It's crazy.
We had. It must have come across the United States because we had in reverse. Really, we had insane wind last night.
Ah, okay.
Like hurricane force, no rain, but hurricane force winds.
Wow.
and Vince takes it way harder than I do because I have the pine barrens and the trees muffle the approach.
Yeah, I don't get that shit. I just like it's tearing the fucking shingles off the side of this fucking apartment. Yeah.
But James, all you hear is the mobster gunshots and the pine
Exactly.
barrens.
Exactly. There they are. They're just feeding the plants, and they have some unorthodox methods. And
Exactly.
I'm all for.
It's the sound of the
Maybe
shovel.
the-
The sound
All
of
you
the
hear
shovel.
is shots
Yeah,
and
yeah.
use guys.
Use guys. That ain't funny. Use guys.
He's still
That's-
breathing.
That's right. That scene. Leave him alone. Leave him alone. That scene where they're eating the ketchup packets out in the pine
So
barrens is
good.
hysterical.
You know what? That is my favorite,
I know.
absolute
Yeah.
favorite. The Pine Barrens episode. Of
I've been out
Sopranos,
there. I've
the
camped
best.
out there. Yeah.
The best.
Oh yeah. That's. Yeah.
And you live right by there, James.
I am the forest is down the road from me. I have horses, and we just ride them straight into the forest. It's magical.
Yep. And I'm 20
love
minutes.
that.
I'm 20 minutes from him, so it's just like it's right in our backyard, basically.
Mm-hmm.
That is
That's
so
awesome.
great.
It's amazing because it's one of the five largest biospheres in the world.
Is it really?
Yeah, it comprises over 1 million acres.
Oh my wow.
And the diversity of life that the pine barrens can support, in spite of all the controlled burnings that we do now and the wildfires that we used to have, because
Hmm.
a lot of our pine trees out here, they won't drop their seeds unless there's a fire.
Yeah, they need the fire to actually propagate.
Yeah, the underbrush will catch
wow,
fire.
that's weird. I never
Yeah.
heard that before.
Yeah.
It's because the pine bark is so resistant to
Oh,
fire.
yeah, yeah.
It's how it's
Yeah.
evolved.
Mhm.
And what happens is you'll get spontaneous fires because there's a high pH value in the soil. It's basically sand. It's actually
Mhm.
it's very good for growing vines for wine. But what happens is there's no bacteria to break down the detritus. So you have this layer upon layer of detritus
Mhm.
and all the just building up, and then you get a spontaneous fire happen, and it just
They'll
It
scorch
flares
it,
out.
and then you get these
And
deer
burn.
trails, and now, of course, dirt bike trails and things of that sort, which are just sugar sand.
Yep.
You'll have like forest here, and you have this white knife that just carves through the forest that you get to follow along. It's so wonderful.
So is it like a flash fire then, where out of nowhere all of a sudden it's like, holy shit, what the
It
hell
can.
happened?
You can get a
Okay.
spontaneous fire like
You
that.
can.
Yeah, because
Our-
what happens
our fire
is
departments are very good about trying to keep that down.
Oh,
Control
I'm sure they're on
burnings.
top
Yeah.
of it. Yeah.
yeah, you get the mix of oak and pine together, and you get spontaneous fires.
But that must actually, and I hate to say this because, fires are tragedies, usually in most cases. That smell must be amazing.
It smells pretty good actually.
I know. I love the smell.
It's a big
of
fucking
burning pine.
campfire. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I know.
Absolutely. But that's why James mentioned the controlled burnings you'll have along the sides of the road
Sure.
every once in a while if you're traveling through the pine barrens on the these lonely roads, you'll see like what looks like these little.
You'll see a controlled burn, and
You will.
some
You'll see a
monsters
flame,
underneath the
and
ash.
someone burying it. Someone burying a body. You'll see these little flames. You're like, what the fuck? It's a controlled burn. Yeah.
Right.
The mob and the fire department try to keep in touch.
They
so
work
that-
hand in hand. Yeah. It's a mutual.
Yeah,
I love
we
it.
have our own scented candle, publicly funded scented candles out here.
Yes, it's a campfire with the flicker, the crackling wick. Yes.
Hey, why do I smell bruschetta on the side of the road?
That's right there. Oh, it's adorable. See? Too funny. But and we have one of the largest aquifers, the Cohansey, and there's another name that goes with it. That's fresh water underneath the ground. So, and another interesting anecdote.
We lost
It happens
I
once
know.
in the review.
him.
It happens once a show. He freezes.
Oh, poor Vincent. Poor guy.
Oh.
Oh, you lost me.
Well.
Jesus Christ.
There you
No,
go,
you guys are
Vincent.
actually-
Oh my God. So what I was saying about privateers and pirates, many of the bridges out in the Pine Barrens are made out of teak, and the teak has been taken from some of the old shipwrecks.
Well,
on the-
teak is
on the Jersey
very
Shore.
expensive wood. Yeah.
It is. So a lot of these small bridges, not many people know, are worth millions of dollars.
Wow. Are you
So-
kidding me?
Yeah, no, it's
Mhm.
yep. A lot of the small little bridges that were built in the 40s and
You
50s.
wanna buy a bridge?
We're driving to Jersey.
That's right.
Get the hacksaw.
That's
Because we have
it.
so many shipwrecks off the coast. Like there's one particularly famous one off on the Cape May Beach. You could just look out across the water and watch the sun set behind a shipwreck, the bow of which is
Wow.
pointing out of the water.
It's the SS. It's the Atlantis. It was one of 5 or 6 guinea pig production ships that were made out of concrete by the U.S. Navy.
Wow.
That sounds
Yeah.
cool.
So close
Yeah.
to the beach.
Yeah, and then you have the wreck of the Cyndia in Ocean City, which still is purported to have treasure still buried and unable to get because of the sand. So who knows? It's just like millions of dollars in China.
Millions of dollars in China in
Yeah.
that wreck?
Yeah, in the wreck. Yeah, supposedly.
Ah.
Yeah, and no one can get to it just because of the nature of the
Wow.
beach.
Speaking of wrecks, how's Bruce Springsteen doing out there?
Oh,
That
Jesus.
fucking retard. That dumbass. I wonder if he was driving a
Lord.
Jeep. I wonder if he was driving a Jeep when that happened.
Right?
Yeah, Christ. He got.
Yeah.
They let his ass
Oopsie.
go. Yeah.
Oopsie.
Whoops.
Yeah.
He paid somebody off. He got his lawyers.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. All of a sudden, he's like, I'm on a podcast with, the previous president. They're like, oh, sorry, Mr. Springsteen.
Yeah. Right. Jesus.
Oh, well, you know what? I need to wrap up, y'all.
Yeah. We're coming up on the 2-hour mark, so we're.
Oh,
we're-
yeah,
It
yeah.
flew by. I can't believe that.
I know,
I
right?
can't believe we made it here.
That's right.
Wow. You guys have been awesome. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
this has
And by
been
the
a
way,
blast.
just meeting you guys for the first time, Vincent and James.
Absolutely.
It's been so much fun. We hope that we get a chance to, do it again.
Mhm.
And we got to have you guys on,
Yeah.
our show.
If we can
Sure.
definitely arrange something here in New Orleans. I think
Oh,
that
we're
would be
coming out. We're
fantastic.
Gotta
coming
come
out.
out.
Yeah.
Yes,
We're
yes.
definitely coming out.
Absolutely.
Yes, that's written in stone right now.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I'm gonna make sure everybody agrees on that in the chat and stuff like that. We'll get it together. It'll
Yep.
happen.
It'll happen.
Oh, you
Yep.
have no idea how much fun you're going to have here in New Orleans.
No,
I'm
I'm excited. Yeah. It'll be
Cool.
good stuff. Okay, so everyone, it's been a Masculine Geek special guest with both Juliette and David. Now, where can everyone find you? Let's do some housekeeping. Where do they go?
So if you want to hear the podcast, you can go to the unwritablерant.com. You'll find everything there, links to the podcast, as well as my YouTube channel, which is Juliette Miranda. And that's where I host Bourbon Soak Live every Monday night at 7 p.m. Central Time.
Excellent. And David, you're just you're the back end, so you don't have your own thing. You're just part of the whole crew.
If you want to see some kind of fun interviews that I've done on YouTube, you can go to, David the producer. Just look it up on YouTube. You'll find it out there.
Yeah,
we've done some fun stuff.
The David the producer YouTube channel is kind of like the speakeasy of YouTube. You use knock, and you'll be treated to some very cool stuff. There's one of the guys from Kiss on there.
Yeah, we have the
cool
Kiss guitar player out there. We've had Fee Wable from the Tubes. We've had
and just for anybody who's interested in booking celebrity guests on their podcast, David does a tremendous how-to video. I mean, he breaks down everything that he has done to book guests on the podcast or on our YouTube shows, including, how to do a great pitch, who to reach out to, how to find people. I mean, it is the most detailed set of instructions you will find on booking celebrity guests.
I'll throw that in the show notes. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a tremendous resource.
It's my, pay it forward to the great community that we're part of.
Absolutely.
There you go. Your magnum opus. Yep. Yeah. I like it.
I'm going to take full advantage of that. Let me tell you now.
Yes.
That's going to be useful.
Absolutely. Please feel free.
Excellent. And last but not least, James, where can everyone find you?
Oh, goodness. This week, you can find me at Asher Creativity Asher Creativity. I'll leave it at that.
There you go. And as always, I'm at masculinegeek.life. All right, everyone. This has been a Masculine Geek production, and we will see you all next time.
Peace. You guys are awesome.
You as well.